Hi, everyone. Welcome to Women Seeking Wholeness. I'm Cherie Burton, and this is a podcast for those who long to feel, express, and be who they truly are. Today, I'm just going to do a short little solo episode on just a couple of things I've been learning and ruminating upon. At the beginning of this year, my word was courage. I ended up going on an advanced week-long meditation retreat through Dr. Joe Dispenza in Cancun with my husband in January. And since then, I've been wanting to talk to you guys all about it. And then time just got away from me. This neuroscience stuff mixed with mysticism, I've been studying for years and years and years, and it's my great fascination. But as it relates to some of the topics we've been discussing as of late, I wanted to bring this closer to home in practical application, because I know that's what we're all needing and wanting in these trying times. So the whole idea about healing and creation is just about letting what needs to die to make room for the new. And it's about actually not seeing yourself as something separate from source. You could say universe, God. It's just this idea of oneness. And for some reason, our logic brains just cannot wrap around it. And so the ego goes into resistance with this notion until we can reframe it and just come into this place of like remembering that we are pure love. This is who we are. This is where we came from. And when we're using the word source, that's pretty typically what we're talking about, is this pure love that we are all from, that we're all made from. The most familiar and unfamiliar feeling in the world, as it's been termed, is this love. We crave it, we long for it, we do all these things to try to attach back and connect back to it, including a lot of dysfunctional behaviors that are unconsciously driven. We have to become aware of infinite possibility. So if we're trying to move to a different state of being, we have to open our minds and our heart to the notion of infinite possibility. And the way Joe Dispenza and a lot of other teachers talk about this is kind of making yourself nothing, which sounds paradoxical, and it kind of is. But you don't go with your current earthly identity into this quantum field of infinite possibility. You make yourself at one with all that is. And in doing so, you become nothing. So that's the paradox. It's like you're very special and you're not special at all. But when it comes to identity, we are all attached to the form of this current earthly identity. And it becomes very difficult for us to extrapolate from this identity, this bag of bones and earth suit that we're wearing, and go into the infinite because we feel separate from it. And whether you do visualizations, you bring yourself there. I mean, it took me like 3 days to even go to a place where I could see it and not feel triggered, because it was kind of scary to go into the void of nothing. But I think what made it feel more familiar and I guess more attainable and reachable and not as ominous for me was to picture myself in literally the cosmic womb germinating. So whether you could call it my consciousness or my etheric nature or my spirit, my true essence, my higher self, if I want to explore limitless creation and be partnered with the divine, I have to lose the identity that is me now. And that doesn't mean I don't honor this identity. It's just that we're all bigger than the identity that we're in right now in physical mortality. Through thought, through location in your mind space and in your heart space, you go to a place of the void or the nothing or the quantum field of infinite possibility. Darkness in this sense is not evil. It's not all the stuff you see in movies or whatever. The dark is just the cosmic womb. It's the void of infinite possibility. It's like open space, and we get to take the frequency we're seeking. So if I want the frequency of healing through this, I guess you could almost call it like a visual or echolocation, I go from my mind in meditation into this field of possibility, into this nothing, into this void. And I seek for and ask for the frequency of healing. And then I access that frequency through thought, through focus, through meditation, through stillness, and feel it. And then bring it back to myself in this physical form. That's in a nutshell what we were experiencing in Cancun, and we're all getting up at 4 a.m. This is like 1,500 people, right? After lots and lots of instruction on how it all works, from a scientific physiological standpoint, we then moved it into application through trying to get out of thought, rather just focusing on those frequencies and focusing on those feelings and accessing where they are in our bodies and how we can find them with the infinite possibility of our own creative mind space. After 3 or 4 days of instruction and practicing these kinds of meditative states, we went to the beach at 4 a.m, all of us, with little headphones in, and Joe Dispenza has this really cool music with like binaural beats and all kinds of, it's just really hard to explain, but his voice comes through in there. It's kind of a jolting sort of awakening into a different way of using his voice so that it accesses it or triggers a different part of our brains. And you could say it's hypnosis. He calls it trance, but we aren't getting programmed with anything that's not in our soul's best interest. It's not telling us what to do. It's guiding us into our own knowing. The whole thing about this is, not relying on a guru, not relying on somebody that has all the answers for you, not waiting for a device, a person, a thing to bring you to a feeling. You bring it to yourself. You entrain yourself to bring these frequencies back to yourself. You train your body to be a creator. The whole presupposition of the law of attraction is that you feel the feeling, and then when you feel the feeling of whatever it is that you're seeking to create, whatever you want to create, if you can feel the fruits of that feeling first before it's actually created in physical form, it's like a magnetic attractor beacon really from the quantum field, because you're carrying that frequency already. And so it comes to you more quickly, more efficiently, and more powerfully. When you feel the fruit of the emotions that you seek to embody, you are training your brain to create these new neural pathways that bring you to a higher state. And when you're in that higher state and you're not waiting around for it to happen before you feel these emotions and feelings, but rather you choosing to embody them now, that's when things get really miraculous. That's when seeming synchronicities show up and all kinds of opportunities land into your space. So really, you're practicing on your own to be the healer, the mystic, the master in the power and glory of your life right now, as it is today, as if your circumstances never changed, that you seek to embody that right now. Change your emotions. You actually can change your genes. From an epigenetic standpoint, we are really the walking benefactors of all the unhealed emotions from our ancestors. Each of us are carrying a very unique genetic sequencing and coding for what our souls wished to experience in this life. We chose to have these bodies and to take on these identities in order for our souls to experience expansion. And sometimes that genetic inheritance is really muddy and messy. And that's the whole human experience, is learning to coexist with those states. At the same time, to clear them, to heal them, to transmute them so that they don't continue to be passed along, so that the collective itself can heal and progress and evolve as one. So taking the time to get the information from that quantum field in your own way, and that information from your heart, from your mind, the coherence between your mind and heart, the way you think in your mind, the way you feel with your heart, that's true revelation. So when I talk on this podcast about sovereignty, I'm saying you are a limitless creator. You can go into this mind and heart coherence on your own without an outside source, through meditation, through focus, through stillness, through nature time, through visualization. You can come into this mind and heart coherence where your energy field is so tuned in to the frequencies that are going to make you happy. They're going to help you progress. They're going to give you that power as a creator. Partnering with that field, with God, with source, and you're bringing it back into this physical body. So the people who walk as these sentient beings that are so connected on this earth plane, that are so connected to the power within themselves to create, to heal, to know, I feel like that there's nothing greater. That is greatness. It's coming into that mind and heart coherence. And I would even say womb coherence. Your 3 main neural processing centers are your mind, your heart, and your gut. Second chakra, the womb center for women. This is almost a holy of holies in the sense that it carries innate wisdom to know with your gut, to have that sense, that guttural sense, that visceral sense of knowing. And it's a gift that no one can take from you. So the way I experience the limitless field of quantum, realities and pulling the frequencies from those fields are different than each one of you, because we are all here to experience and grow and learn things very individually. So you can get to this point, this is like life goals, right? Where you start to become your truth. When your heart knows and your mind is in coherence with your heart and your womb is communicating to your heart and they're all one and they're all communicating, you start to become your truth. And you don't get as triggered from your environment. Your response from your environment, stuff going on in the environment, no longer weakens you. You have a greater sense of well-being and you know who you are. When you get lost in your identity, the things you've been diagnosed with, the problems you have, the labels you've been given, we've been doing this too long. We've been categorizing ourselves for too long. We have to get out of that box and go into that place of wholeness, that place of oneness, that place of interconnectivity to all that is, to God, to source, to nature, to each other. Just a visual that comes to my mind when I'm in deep meditation is like a resurrection. You're loving yourself and then others back into new life. Wherever you give your attention, wherever you place your heart's attention, and you send gratitude to it and you send your energy to it, you are having an impact. I love the word now, heartful instead of mindful. We talk a lot about mindfulness, but I love heartfulness as a term. Being wholehearted, putting the attention on your heart. The heart knows. You can trust the heart. All of our energy centers are trying to communicate with each other. Our mind, our heart, our gut, all of the pieces of us are trying to bring us back and integrate us into that empowerment of wholeness, claiming that wholeness. When your heart is synchronized to your brain, you can fall in love with everything, with all of creation, with life, with yourself. Everything feels sacred. You look at things around you with new eyes. You look inside of yourself with new eyes. I just wanted to share that today because in my travels to France, which will come at a later episode, it was so amazing. I'm still processing a lot of it, trying to integrate back into my life with my family, and I haven't found a more apt description of how to receive wholeness other than inner focus and inner calm and allowing yourself space to be human in all of it. Feeling the fruits of your true, raw, real emotions. Allowing these dissonant, traumatic, epigenetic, whatever you want to call them, these, I guess you could even say the pain body or the toxicity that lives in you, a lot of which is not yours, but just allowing it to kind of work through you. As you begin to change your emotions, you change your genes, and the patterning becomes different. You become physiologically different. This is like medicine, noticing your emotions, allowing yourself to feel them rather than how we were programmed to just push them down, deny them, subvert them, go into avoidance patterns, sabotage. That's the old way. That's why there were all these epigenetic issues to begin with that we've inherited, because that's what our ancestors had to do to survive. We're in a different era. We're in the era of alchemizing these old patterns, paradigms, emotions, and what have you into new life, a new reality, a newness of being, a new consciousness. One of the things that was discussed at this retreat in Mexico was the universe only gives you what you think you're worthy of receiving. Now, I think this is also in scripture, but people misconstrue scripture and twist it, some teachers, to say, if you're not worthy, you can't receive. But the flip of that is when you know you're worthy and when you feel it, more is added unto you, because a sense of worthiness is also a sense of gratitude. I sometimes feel like those are synonymous. When we go into lack, like I lack this, I lack that, I'm not good enough here, I'm not good enough there, the universe can't send you the abundance you seek because you're in a lack mentality about yourself. And I don't think that's the way that this whole plan was designed. I think this whole point is to claim that we are limitless creators and that we came here in a sacred knowing that we would learn things. Our only job here is to learn to love. I don't even like to call it a job. Task might land better, lesson. The more that we internalize that we are love, and that because we are love, that makes us worthy, then more and more can be added unto us until that perfect day where we feel whole. We finally feel whole. I wish I could tell you guys that I feel whole. I have moments of it. And I think that that's a miracle when I do feel that integration and I've come into myself, and it has nothing to do with what I'm achieving or doing. But I think one of the reasons I even named this podcast Women Seeking Wholeness is that I have been on this journey to feel, I know that I am whole, like every one of us are, but to feel whole is a whole other dimension of peace and joy. It's a whole other way to live your life, to feel whole. Maybe I should change this podcast to Women Feeling Wholeness. At any rate, thanks for listening to my ramblings and musings. I'm always just so in awe of the beautiful comments that I'm getting about this podcast. People send me messages. There's some beautiful reviews on iTunes that bring me a lot of joy in my heart. And please share this. I will continue to deepen the conversations around receiving your own wholeness, remembering your wholeness, feeling your wholeness. And I love bringing in lots of personalities who say it in different ways, because I know that some of you will resonate with some of my guests and some of you will not. This topic of wholeness, it is so incredibly diverse. I have a wisdom kit, a physical kit of beautiful items I designed to bring you back into your body, to bring you back literally to your senses, and to connect through your sensory portals to your inner knowing, to build that mind and heart coherence, and to bring you back into your body so you can show up and create from that quantum field and those frequencies. When you raise your physical frequency, when you raise your awareness to your infinite powers to create, that is done through your sensory portals: smell, taste, touch, sound, sight, etc. Coming back to your senses in the sense that you are using your faculties in intentional ways, in proactive ways, to access your own inner wisdom is why I created this kit. So it's very goddess-based and very fun. So anyway, check out my website, CherieBurton.com, and follow me on Instagram, Cherie.Burton. And of course, in our Women Seeking Wholeness private Facebook group, you can ask to join that just for some fun updates on how we're utilizing this kit for whole body healing and restoration. Again, have a beautiful week, and we will talk to you next Wednesday on Women Seeking Wholeness.